Morning, folkers. Snapzilla Gorilla, aka Snap Turtle, aka The Definition, coming at y'all with a video from the truck. Listen, I'm coming to y'all with some not so great news. Down in Mexico, a family, actually a caravan with several families, were ambushed by the cartels. A lot of people were killed, including 9-month-old twins. An 8-month-old child was injured, shot in the chest, and I think a 7-year-old was shot in a 4-year-old was shot in the back. And Trump is saying that he's willing to help wage war against the cartels down there, but we'll see what happens. We'll see if Mexico even takes him up on it. This is a tragedy. This is a tragedy, okay? Something like this should never be able to happen. But you're talking about a country with a government rife with corruption. You're talking about a people of this country who are unable to arm themselves properly to defend themselves against such attacks. And that's the problem. You see, the people of Mexico cannot rely on their government to do anything for them, to protect them against the cartels, because many of the government officials in Mexico are bought and paid for by the cartels. And see, what you have now, it's like the Wild Wild West, except when it was the Wild West back in the day, everybody was armed. And so that meant that when you wanted to attack somebody, you had to be prepared to have return fire thrown at you. Well, not in Mexico. But there is a town in Mexico that took it upon themselves to arm themselves because the government wasn't doing shit to protect them and their families against cartels. And once they did that, once they were able to fight back with their own firearms, they made shit happen. I mean, you're talking about they arrested cartel members, they killed cartel members that tried to prey on them. And the cartel, for the most part, doesn't fuck with them anymore. But not so for this family. This family is actually from America, from Utah or something like that. This is a prime example of why we cannot allow the government to disarm us. And, unlike Rahm Emanuel, I'm not going to let a good tragedy waste us. You understand what I'm saying? This is what happens when there are firearms out in the world and your government restricts you from owning and holding and bearing a firearm. This is what happens. You fall victim to criminals who don't obey laws. This is exactly the type of thing that could happen if if they strip us of our rights to keep and bear arms here in America. We won't be able to defend ourselves against such attacks. Now, I mean, will people never get murdered by criminals if we were able to keep and bear arms? No, it's not the case. But you greatly increase your chances of surviving an attack. If you're alert, if you own firearms, if you're bearing those firearms, if you're locked and loaded, ready to go, ready to answer any attack, you're going to increase your chances greatly if you have a firearm. But that's not what they want. They want us to be vulnerable to criminals so that we can rely on them for everything. We're going to have to rely on them for food, water, protection, and not the type of protection you think. Our children will be victims. You know, our children, are going to be very vulnerable to any attacker if we give up our right to keep and bear arms. Who's going to protect us? When seconds count, police are minutes away. So who's going to protect us? Actually, minutes away, my bad. When seconds count, cops are minutes away. 5 minutes can feel like an eternity when you're under fire. So I want you guys to think about that. Those of you who feel like we don't need an AR-15, we don't need this, we don't need that, I want you to think about what happened in Mexico on that highway when that family was ambushed. None of them were armed. Might some of them have still died if they were? Possibly. But see, this is what you got to do. When you're in a place like Mexico, where the cartels are running rampant, they're warring down there. All these different factions of the cartels are warring down there, and they just attack any and everybody. It would be wise to arm yourself. That's just the smart thing to do. But at the same time, if the people were armed down there, if the people were able to carry, you know what I'm saying? If they were able to carry whatever they wanted to carry, these cartels wouldn't be as big as they are. They wouldn't. Because the people could stand up and fight against them. Now you see what can happen when your government makes you vulnerable. When they fall into a corrupt state. When corruption takes over the United States, the government. And you left with no other option but to lay there and die at the hands of a psychopathic gunman. Or several psychopathic gunmen. So let's think about that. The next time they try to pass laws that would strip one iota of our rights away. And if you're going to go down to Mexico, be very careful. Be very careful going down to Mexico. No place is safe in Mexico, not even the tourist spots. You know what I'm saying? They can attack you anywhere at any time. And the government, the police, the military, they're not going to help you. They're not going to help you. But Trump will tweet for you. So be careful when you're traveling down to Mexico, anywhere in South America where these cartels are just running around doing whatever the hell they want to do. Man. And protect your family at all costs. Anyway, I'm gonna holler at y'all later. Send prayers out to this family. Send prayers out to those children that survived and the family back here in the United States of those victims. Peace.